special guest, co-anchor, Mr. Bosun Mofai.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you, Otto. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Doctor, good morning. Yes, it's lockdown phase 2, day 3. How's the experience going there?
Is the need for that mental fortitude. I tell people around me, there's not going to be a quick solution to this, so we really need to be ready to dig in and to be ready for the long haul. So we're here, we're digging in, and we're hoping for the best.
Nice to hear from you, the mental fortitude because of the long haul. And speaking of that, the business environment also knows its implication. First, give us an insight into how this is going to really impact the Nigeria business environment.
It is not about how, it is about how, when. It's about the fact that it's already impacting businesses in diverse ways. I like to say there are the positive sides and there are the negative sides. Although currently the negative seems to outweigh the positive. There's a whole challenge about market access itself. As you do well know, when you have this kind of situation that's extremely unusual, that not many people in living memory have either faced or contended with, then the kind of responses we get are usually tough. So I'd like to clarify that the market itself, the business environment, has been very severely adversely affected in different ways. Number one is the fact that there's no more demand. Nobody's demanding for business, for products and commodities the way we used to know it, because businesses are shut down, people are locked down. So, and when there's no demand, it means that there's no business. When there's no business, it means there's no income generated. So you can imagine that businesses that are virtually shut down now, and when I mean shut down, I mean they're out of business because they can't guarantee being an ongoing concern. Then there's no way they can continue to be in business. So there are people who are out of employment. That's another implication. We've also seen a trend with the MSMEs because their own cash reserve threshold is usually very low. So they run out of cash. What that also implies is that they are not able to service the current obligations. They are not able to service their loans and so on and so forth. That's another implication. For those who do international business, and I think part of this was mentioned by Femi Ubala in that first segment, getting raw materials, the supply chain management has been threatened. People are not able to do commerce because it's survival mode for many countries. So you have a situation where for you to source raw materials has become virtually impossible. Whatever stock or inventory people have, they're running extremely short. Many countries are focused now on survival, and there's that whole discussion about whether this whole challenge we have is an economic challenge or a health challenge. In addition to that, we also have the fact that the work environment itself has changed significantly. Many people now are contending with working from home, which provides very interesting scenarios and situations. Many of us are not prepared for this. In fact, it's fair to say a substantial part of the world wasn't prepared for this. So in Nigeria, for instance, the future of work, which is what we can term the having to work from home, is not something that we are familiar with. So again, this is a situation that many businesses have to contend with, working offline and working from home. There's the whole essence of why you need to do that, vis-a-vis the level of productivity and the pragmatism that comes with it, because all the accompanying elements that can make business happen, i.e. financial services running, normal market supports running. Many of those things are now threatened and jeopardized. That's not there. Again, you have a situation where there's rising costs. Um, the central bank has obviously devalued the naira, I think. Uh, the rise of cost of materials, raw materials is rising. Cost of products in the market space, the ones that are available, is going up. So all of these things people are having to contend with as the fallout of COVID-19. Uh, you know, when you look at the whole landscape, for instance, SMEs need to contend with, when you look at market penetration, when you look at infrastructure, when you look at information flow, when you look at access to finance, when you look at the use of technology, all of those things are not in optimal use as we speak. So on a broad scale, those I think are the immediate negatives that come to mind. On the positive side, in terms of how this impacts business, that we are seeing a significant change in consumer habits and attitude. This is against the background that people are worried um, because they are uncertain of the future, they are uncertain of the quality and veracity of information they're getting as far as dealing with COVID-19 is concerned. They're worried about whether how easily they can catch or whether they've caught the flu itself. When you have an ordinary cough, sometimes you're afraid whether this is the COVID that they've written about or it's just an ordinary cough. Uh, Again, people are concerned about their finances. You will recall that when the lockdown was announced, uh, the first and immediate reaction was panic buying, was people to stock up. So that shows that people are concerned about the future. But the truth is also that because the entire system is compromised, people don't have money like they used to. So access to, they're concerned about their finances. It's also important to know that, you know, these estimating circumstances, it's more of survival mode. For those who are now in third week or fourth week of lockdown, suddenly, a lot of the things that used to matter don't matter. You have to survive from day one to day two to day three. So basic essentials. Um, I also think because of all of this, you selling me your product or service, is there something more that you can do? Because we have found ourselves in a very unusual situation. We all know that there's nothing like demand. Demand is subdued. So there's need for uh, subliminal association that is not based just on what we call functional benefits of accessing a product or a service. So I need some kind of emotional balance. I need some kind of emotional um, tonic to be able to get through this period. So this provides new opportunities, like I was trying to say, in terms of consumer orientation, consumer habits, buying patterns, how we make purchase decisions, and so on and so forth. Um, and I think the opportunity is one for businesses to be able to study this change, to be able to adapt as quickly as possible to some of these emerging trends and see how they can capitalize on that. In fact, for me, I think the aphorism should be that adaptation is the mother of invention, and not necessarily that it's that necessity is the mother of invention. So we need to be able to identify our customers' needs. We need to be able to empathize with them. We need to be very creative in how we take our products and services to them. In other words, there are challenges, there are existential threats, but there are also opportunities once we can get over certain barriers and obstacles.
Okay, Doctor, I hear you very well in what you've said. And you know, in this period, brands and companies need to continue to maintain that connection with their customers. And this has to do with marketing.
Well, again, unfortunately, many businesses, except a few, what you call the first tier, many businesses have this um, very what I'll call inappropriate relationship with the market space, where messaging has never been strong, where the connection, especially the emotional connection, has always been taken for granted, and where at best the way they deal with consumers and the end market has always been extremely transactional. Um, and this is when the chicken come home to roost. Now it's going to take a double the effort to be able to reach out to people who are troubled for you to be able to sell them anything that's worth buying. Uh, but having said that, I think it's important that businesses who want to take the opportunity of marketing communication must do certain things. Number one is for them to be able to reassure the market, their customers, their target market, uh, about the fact that they know what they're doing at this period and things are very challenging. What we've seen some businesses do is to change orientation from some of the uh, product line that they're normally used to now start focusing on what will provide support and convenience and comfort of people at this trying time. So that helps with the connection. Number two is that the brands, and services and the products uh, need to stay relevant to every customer. And how do you do that? You stay relevant by ensuring that you understand the need state at this point in time of that consumer of the market. If you do not understand what they need now, and you're still going and carrying on as business as usual, then you will have missed the point, because then you will be talking above their head or talking below them, producing products and services that are not relevant to their need right now. Um, it's also important that looking at this, we need to deepen the brand experience. We know what we call the brand experience, the affinity between the product and the service and the market space. Um, what can be referred to as revamped sales strategies. Talk about the changing habits and attitudes initially. And what we've seen is that a lot more people are moving because they are locked down and they don't have easy access to where they used to make a lot of purchases online. They're doing it through e-commerce transactions. That changes the landscape. That means that there's higher opportunities for distribution uh, uh, companies, for those who are in logistics, for those who are doing delivery. It's also important to cash in on this and to ensure that the migration is not artificial, because it does look like these are things that will become permanent fixtures once this COVID is over, when it is over. So again, it's about adaptability, it's about speed, and how we can quickly look at this as an opportunity that we need to use to transform the consumer experience in the way they relate with our brand. I think above everything else, one of the key and most important elements that the market will be looking for at this point in time is empathy. I did talk about, the functional benefits of a product or service. The function is a function, all right. But when it comes to the issue of empathy, those are that's when the subliminal reasons why people buy a product or service comes in. What we have seen, like I said initially, is that a lot of brands deal with the market, deal with the consumers in a very transactional manner. But where you want to be embedded, when you want to be in the customer's heart, where you want to win their heads and win their hearts, you have to look at the issue of empathy. With empathy comes the issue of trust and values. People are then going to be examining what that company stands for, what the values are, what the core values are. They're going to be looking for those things that help them to connect with that company, with that brand, with that product, with that service, beyond the functional benefits that they get or that they can obtain. So maybe another consideration in terms of this relevance and resonance is in the area of pricing. And again, we've seen some very responsive companies look at their pricing structure and take into cognizance the very challenging period that we are, and they revise their prices downwards. In other places, they're giving out some of their products for free. In other climes, they're changing their entire product line to suit what is needed right now. So these are some of the things that I think brands and products can look at to be able to make a difference in market space.
Before I will get to ask this question or make this intervention, I just want to ask you, Dr. Tunji, also, we've talked about pricing, empathy. What about leveraging customer service operations this period to connect with customers? Because some of them require services, clarity from their brands and companies. How can this be affected in this period?
Can be done in that regard, to be honest with you. I've spoken about some of these already. If you look at the issue of products, for instance, and how this can make a difference, many organizations are looking at product portfolio, and keep in mind what I said about people focusing on only the basic essentials. And they are now looking at those products in terms of the features and how it can offer more convenience. Two, how it can be easily accessible. Three, how the pricing can be easily accommodated by all. And four, the entire value chain of route to market is being re-examined. So again, you look at the product that helps you to be able to resonate with the market. Second thing that needs to happen that consumers, always want is they want you to understand what makes them take the decisions that they make. So it might be useful for businesses to do a bit of data analysis for business trending, the trends that are ongoing, and to use that to be able to take pragmatic decisions. It's also important, of course, that when we're doing all of this, how can our message show this empathy that I talked about initially? People are contending with life and death situations. People are losing loved ones. People are very concerned about their own health, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. So it's not the time for frivolity. So again, marketing communication need to adapt their messaging to suit what I call the organic needs of today's situation. When you look at creative communication, it has to take into cognizance the sensibilities of the times that we are. Industry needs will differ. So again, localities, how people react to some of these things will differ. And what we've seen is the survival mode where virtually every business in virtually every country are all concerned with how do I preserve myself going forward. So we've seen borders shut down. We've seen everything grounded, and people are more concerned with things like primary protection equipment. They're more concerned with face masks. They're more concerned with sanitizers. Those things that we used to take for granted. So again, the key question is, how do we make sure that all of these help our products to bond, our services to bond with the market at the end of the day? Connections is central to everything that has to do with communication. Whether you're talking about physical connection or you're talking about emotional connection. So again, if you look at the messaging, and if you look at the medium, the key question we need to ask ourselves is, which one helps us to be able to get our communication across better? Which one helps us to be able to endear, which one helps to endear us in the minds of people that will be making the purchase decision both for now and into the future? Ultimately, what we are finding is that all of these nuances, all of these changes at, at best are unusual, looks like something that's going to be with us even after the COVID-19 is long gone. I'll give you an example. In America, some of the states are considering the fact that social distancing will morph into physical distancing. So, for instance, if you need to go into a restaurant, you will need not only to book a table ahead, but the restaurants can only serve you with things like disposable menu. They will fix the exact number of people that can attend to you, how the food will be prepared and delivered to your table, and so on and so forth. Because until a vaccine is discovered and in use to take care of the pandemic, the expectation is that we might need to contend with this restriction for maybe even over a year or 2 years from now. So these are the dynamics that inform the whole footmap of marketing communications itself.
All right,
So,
Dr.
Wilson,
Wilson, just
do you have interventions on this?
I think Dr. Olugbodi spent quite a whole lot of time breaking it all down. He's an expert and he's spoken to that field. So I respect his views.
Very incisive.
And they align also with my thoughts. Was able to take us
Dimension
to dimension them and what we need to do from the point of what I call what we know as panic mode to the mode necessity mode. Now we need to the realism stage and how we move forward from here. There is a webinar today at 4 p.m. Nigerian time. It's called a Crisis Communications in Africa. It's being hosted by a former Bloomberg editor-at-large, Gavin Sekin from London. We'll be speaking with two experts who are also experts in communication or business communication. Again, communicating hope and realism and transparency at this point in time is very key, both for government and for businesses as well. So I'll just say everyone should try and see if they can join that webinar, New Markets, Media and Intelligence, for 4 p.m. local time, Nigerian time, 3 p.m. GMT if you're in London or elsewhere across Africa. But it's focused on Africa, which is crisis communications in Africa. We've seen governments where some are communicating a little bit better than others. How do we communicate in a manner that we don't allow fear to grip the people? How do we communicate hope and then realism of what lies ahead? All of this go into what the conversation will be later today, and I think those are my final words.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr.
And Doctor, in just 1 minute, can you give us what you would like to expect to see from the policy side, support for MSMEs in the business environment?
From the policy side, I think what the 50 billion naira intervention from the central bank is another. But what I think should happen is to be intentional about this. And I've had a lot of talk around different sectors and different industries and so on and so forth. I'm not an expert here, but I will wager that the reality of today has put us in that whole space where we now understand that health is wealth. So perhaps part of what we need to do is to focus on how do we guarantee food security? Because a nation that can feed itself has done more than 50% of the work in trying to secure its future. Right now, we are not there at all. So my point is, can we focus, for instance, on the agricultural value chain and use that as a springboard to be able to do on everything else? So rather than it's free for all and it's just open. Look at countries like Malaysia, like Indonesia, and so on and so forth. The focus has been on specific cash crops and value yielding agricultural produce that essentially help them not just in terms of foreign exchange earning, but also to be able to oil the wheel of commercial progress. I think that's what we need in Nigeria. So I like what I've heard, for instance, about focusing on textile and so on and so forth. However, we need to look at agriculture. For me, that would be the mainstay of what we need to do to meet the destination. Policy makers should really focus on. But we also do know that making policies on one hand, execution is another thing. Again, what we've seen is considerable level of policy somersaults, where things change as quickly as they are made. In 3 months, in 6 months, the policy has changed. And then the bigger challenge is also alignment with other elements that are supposed to all work in the same direction. So A does not know what B is doing, and everybody works at cross purposes. So again, it's not just enough to look at policy formulation. I think policy alignment and execution is also extremely important.
Thank you very
much for your very incisive contribution today on the implications of COVID-19 on the business environment. We've also learned a lot around marketing and communications for companies, emotional connection with customers, empathy, even looking at pricing at this time. Thank you very much for your contributions, Dr. Tunji Olugbodi. Thank you very much, Mr. Bolson Mofaye.
Thank you so much
for having this once again with us today.
Thank you.
And that will be all for this edition of the Market Review. We had today Dr. Tunji Olugbodi, MD, CEO, Verdant Zeal Communications Limited, and our special guest co-anchor here, Mr. Bolson Mofaye, CEO, Frontier Africa Reports. Let's make this happen again tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. You can join our website, www.proshareng.com, to get more market reports analysis in this period. ProShare has also packaged for you data and analysis on the impact of COVID-19 on the market and economy. Go to proshareng.com/COVID-19 and you'll see all the data you need and analysis. Till we come your way again, thank you for watching and have a nice day.